Hello, this is Nikita Belausov with the third translation for the English course. The heart. The heart constantly pumps blood through the blood vessels that carry it to all the parts of the body. It looks like two separate pumps next to each other. Both pumps have a collection chamber called atrium, a pumping chamber called ventricle, and valves that prevent blood from flowing in the wrong direction. The walls of the heart are formed with the cardiac muscle. When it contracts, the blood is expelled from the ventricles into the arteries, and when it relaxes, the heart cavity is filled up with blood again. The right side of the heart collects the depleted blood and pumps it towards the lungs, where it becomes oxygenated. The left side collects that oxygen-rich blood from the lungs and pumps it into the bloodstream that runs through the entire body, including the coronary arteries, which supply blood to the heart itself. Fun fact: I actually have a mild malfunction of one of my heart valves, so some of my blood might flow back from time to time. If I recall correctly, it is called regurgitation. The blood circulation. The oxygenated blood is pumped from the left ventricle into the aorta. The aorta branches into smaller arteries, which also branch into even smaller arterioles, and finally those branch into the tiniest blood vessels called capillaries. The walls of the capillaries are very thin, which enables for the nutrients, oxygen and hormones to be transferred from the blood into the interstitial fluid, which surrounds the cells, from where it goes inside the cells themselves. The metabolic waste products created by the cells are expelled into the interstitial fluid, where they get absorbed into the blood. The warmth generated by the cells is also absorbed into the bloodstream. From the capillaries, deoxygenated blood is drained into the larger blood vessels called venules, which are united into even thicker veins. Veins help blood to get into the right atrium, from where it goes into the right ventricle, which pumps it out into the lungs through the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is breathed out into the air through the tiny gas-exchanging sacs called alveoli, and the inhaled oxygen is being absorbed to dissolve into the blood. Newly oxygenated blood is carried through the pulmonary vein into the left atrium, where it goes through the blood circulation cycle all over again. The blood and the blood vessels. The liquid component of blood, called plasma, carries a lot of different cells through the bloodstream. Those are red blood cells or erythrocytes that transfer oxygen and some of the carbon dioxide, white blood cells or leukocytes that defend the body against infection and destroy the waste tissue material, platelets or thrombocytes, which allow the blood to clot where the blood vessels are injured, and various chemicals. The blood absorbs vital nutrients from the digestive system. There are also hormones and metabolic products in the plasma, including wastes that are partly eliminated through the kidneys with urine. Each heart contraction pumps the blood out into the arteries, creating a traveling wave of pressure, or pulse. The pulse can be felt in places where one can press the artery to the bone through the skin and subcutaneous tissue. The more intense the blood flow, the better is the blood supply to all the tissues. From the tissues, blood is carried into the heart through the veins. These vessels have thin walls which work under lower pressure and have valves that prevent blood from flowing in the wrong direction. The blood flow is created either by gravity or by contraction of adjacent skeletal muscle. That is all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.